Hello, and welcome to EUTV Sports Update. We'll be looking at the latest sports news from Evangel University and around the region. I'm Eric Patterson.
We'll also look at college football across the nation and check out the latest happenings in professional sports. I'm Cadence Washam, and this is Sports Update on EUTV. So EU football had one of their closest matches all year, and it ended up going overtime. So we'll have to take a look at that later on in the show.
Yeah, and then the volleyball team competed in the KCAC tournament, so we'll see how they did as their season could continue or could have ended. We don't know.
It was an eventful weekend at EU.
On Saturday, the Evangel football team looked to finish the regular season undefeated as they hosted the Bethel Threshers. To start the game, the Valor were cold despite scoring a field goal first, and ultimately found themselves down 21-3 quickly due to a trio of touchdowns by Bethel quarterback DJ Sears. This trend would continue as Evangel would fall behind even more as another Sears touchdown gave the Threshers a 31-10 lead early in the fourth. But the Valor would not be denied as they scored 3 touchdowns in a row, culminating with a pass from Wakely to Hester tying the game with 31 seconds left. Bethel would drive down and attempt a field goal to win it, but it would be blocked. In overtime, both teams scored touchdowns, forcing a second overtime. The Valor got the ball first and would have to settle for a field goal. Then, with the Threshers attempting a field goal to extend the game, they blocked it again. Evangel escapes with a 41-38 victory. Pandemonium erupted as the Valor claimed its first outright conference championship since 2005.
Valor Volleyball traveled to Hutchinson, Kansas on Friday afternoon, looking to defeat the 3-seeded Bethel Threshers and continue to advance in the postseason. Evangel played a back-and-forth first set with the Threshers, but fell behind in the middle of the set, 13-7. A 5-0 run by the Valor in set 1 pushed Evangel ahead 23-21, but Bethel would fight back, evening the score at 26-26 in the set. Bethel will record the final 2 points of the set to take a 28-26 win over Evangel in set 1. In set 2, Evangel fought all the way to the end, and leading 20-19, Evangel would have a 4-0 run and win set 2, 24-19. Set 3, Bethel recorded 20 points before Evangel could hit double digits. The Valor would not go down without a fight. In the third set, the Valor fell in the 25-17 in the fourth and final set. Evangel continued to struggle on the attack. Bella Wakely recorded Evangel's final kill as a trio of attacking errors from the Threshers helped Evangel narrow the deficit, but the damage had already been done, as EU fell 25-15 in their 2023 season. Evangel's men's basketball hosted John Brown University in the Ashcroft Center on Friday night. Evangel and John Brown went back and forth through the first 20 minutes as EU took a narrow 40-39 lead into halftime. The Valor locked down on defense to start the second half, going on a 10-0 run to build a 50-41 lead at the 16th minute mark. The Valor got free throws from Jace Coffey and a layup from Garrett DeVault to pull back in a 74-65 with 2 minutes left in the game. Coffey would score on another putback with 1 minute left to push the lead back to double digits at 78-67. Evangel defeated John Brown 83-73 for their first win of the season.
Traveling to Oklahoma City to compete in the MACU Classic, the Valor women's basketball team looked to earn their first win of the season. The first game of the tournament they faced off was against the John Brown Golden Eagles. The first quarter was highly contested, going back and forth, with the Valor leading 17-15. The second quarter was won by John Brown as they hit 75% of their shots as the Valor trailed at halftime 40-35. The second half was huge for the Valor. Micah Clayton played well to put the Valor ahead, and the rest of the team contributed in the final quarter, outscoring the Golden Eagles 39-18 in the second half. The Valor start this season off strong with new head coach Jim Middleton as they win 74-58. Yeah, so the football team is conference champs for the first time in 18 years, which is a lot, undefeated. And I'm really excited to see what they do in the national tournament as well.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the NAIA national standings. So as you can see, Evangel is staying at that 9 standing, but they haven't moved, which is really good. But the top 12 teams have a bye the first round. So we don't play this week, but we do advance to the next round.
Yes. Yeah, we're doing really good at number 9, 11-0.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so men's and women's basketball got their first wins of the season. So that's really good for them. But volleyball season did come to an end, which is really sad. But they had a really good run. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to the basketball team for the women's side. Their new coach, and they seem to be playing pretty well under him.
Yeah. Coming up next, I'll be here with football player Kyer Warner to talk about the football season.
And later, we'll look at some of the most significant college games from the weekend and upsets in the NFL.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Welcome back. I'm here with football player Kyer Warner. Thank you, Kyer, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to Evangel and started playing football?
Yeah, so football's been my number one sport since I was little. And to be honest, I didn't really get good at football until my senior year because I started in high school because I started training outside of school for it. And then finally I got offered for here and then East Central University and then 2 other small colleges. And when I took my visit here, all the coaches and the players, they showed me so much love, and my mom really liked it, and you know, I just felt like God was kind of calling me to come here, and then so I got here, and then just every year it's been amazing.
Yes, that's so great to hear. And then this past weekend, y'all played Bethel. And can you tell me a little bit about your role in that game and how you played?
Yeah, so that game was, at first it was scary. It was times during that game where I was worried if we were gonna even win it. You know, they started off very strong. We were down by like 21 points in the end of the fourth quarter. But so like in that game, I played defensive end, and you know, I made a couple tackles, a couple stops, and you know, had a lot of pressure on their quarterback. Their quarterback was really good. He was fast. He was able to move around a lot. It was one point I tried to tackle him, and he completely ducked all the way under me and got away from me. But the biggest role I had in this game was definitely blocking the field goal at the end of the fourth quarter to keep the game going. And then my good friend Dom, he ended up blocking the very last field goal to win the game. So, you know, that was big. I've never blocked a field goal in my life before, so just being able to do that, and then my mom was there and she was able to see that, and it was amazing. It was a great comeback win.
Well, that was a good time to start blocking the punt. So can you tell me a highlight from this season that you just really stood out to you?
So I want to say, for me, myself, it was, I want to say week 7, week 8, I got defensive player of the game along with my linebacker, Bradley Myers. And I had like 2 sacks, 4 tackles, and then I was just everywhere that game. You know, I practiced really well that week, and my coach was on me a lot because the previous week I had a bad week. So I was really just locked in, and I had a lot of support from my friends, like on and off the field, about just, you know, playing to my level and just doing the best I can. So, you know, I went into that week and I balled out. So that was big for me.
Yeah, and then you mentioned you have those really good weeks and you have those weeks that you just don't do as great. How do you mentally prepare for those next competition the next week?
You know, you take it one day at a time. You know, I really take a lot of time out to just study the playbook because, you know, it really matters. And, you know, there's times where I don't want to study the playbook just because there's so much going into a game all the time. So I just remember that specific week where I played really well. Every single day I looked at everything the other team did offensively, and then, you know, in practice, just little things like steps, how I work my hands, and then, you know, just even off the field, just locking into my own work when it comes to like school and everything. Yeah. I don't know why, but just whenever I lock into everything in life, just it all comes together by the time game time comes around. So, you know, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. So congratulations on being KCAC Conference champs. Mm-hmm. So how does that playoffs look like, and how are y'all preparing for that?
So, you know, as of right now, we got to skip the first round just because since we went 11-0 and won. So we're waiting to find out who we will play in that second round, but I do know we're gonna end up traveling pretty far. So we'll see how that works. But as far as preparing, we're just gonna, you know, just kind of like we do for a regular game every other week during the regular season. And we're just gonna take it one step at a time. I know like this week we'll just be kind of practicing our own kind of offense and defense type work. And then whenever we find out who that team is, then we'll start preparing for their game plan, and we'll see how all that goes. And yeah.
So since you've been at Evangel, have you ever had a season like 11-0, and how has this impacted you?
So like I've never had an 11-0 season or anything like this in my entire life. So, you know, just the fact that we were able to do this year is crazy because, you know, coming into it, like going into the KCAC, I mean, we knew we were gonna have a chip on our shoulders. Every team was gonna play their best when they played us. You know, previous years we just, you know, my freshman year we went 2-5, sophomore year 5-6, and then 7-3 last year. So it's like the difference every year was just how everyone on the team acts towards each other on the field. Like, you know, our love for God, I think, is the biggest reason that we're doing so good this year. You know, every time my linebacker, he has a saying in the middle of the game. He says, honor God. And, you know, he does that every single play. And that was big this year. And I just feel like that's the reason we're doing so good. And I think that's the reason we'll go far this year.
One last question. So going into playoffs, how could you see that your team could improve and really go even farther, go to nationals and win the championship?
You know, I just think I think there's still things we can do to bring it all together as far as like our like technical things, just how we move on the field, our steps we take, and you know, I think our game plan is always right, and I think if we just perfect that really this during the playoffs, I think it'll pay off a lot, you know. So definitely. I think it'll be big.
Well, thank you for being with us today, Kyer. And good luck in playoffs.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Coming up, we'll look at the college football and upsets from the weekend in the NFL. Stay tuned.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe, Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Following two big wins against Oklahoma and Iowa State, the number 16 Kansas Jayhawks hosted the Texas Tech Red Raiders in both teams' 10th game of the season. The Red Raiders' vaunted defense against the Jayhawks' potent offense was a storyline all game. Kansas struggled to get much of anything going offensively after losing starting quarterback Jason Bean in the first half to injury, and Texas Tech held them scoreless for the first 3 quarters. Texas Tech got a touchdown run by Taj Brooks and 2 field goals from Gino Garcia to take a 13-0 lead into the 4th. Finally, Kansas seemed to wake up as third-string quarterback Ballard led the Jayhawks to score 13 points, including the game-tying field goal with 25 seconds left, as it looked like it would go into overtime. However, Morton would lead the Red Raiders quickly down the field, and Garcia would play a 30-yard field goal through the uprights to give Texas Tech the road upset 16-13 and only 1 game away from bowl eligibility.
The number 13 Tennessee Volunteers traveled to Columbia to face the number 14 Missouri Tigers on Saturday afternoon in what was set up to be a tight matchup. The first quarter was dominated by Missouri as Tennessee only had 3 plays and barely had the ball. The Volunteers, known for their fast pace, were not able to get any rhythm. The only explosive play was a 46-yard pass from Milton to Thornton. However, Thornton was injured on the play and would not return. Despite not playing well, the score would stay within 1 score and was 13-7 going into halftime with the Tigers up. The second half was all Tigers as running back Cody Schrader dominated the Vols defense. Schrader ran for over 200 yards and caught 5 catches for 116 yards, both which are season highs. When the dust settled, it was Missouri who won 36-7, eliminating Tennessee's chance at SEC East crown. On Sunday, the Los Angeles Clippers hosted the Memphis Grizzlies in Crypto.com Arena. As both teams have been struggling early in the season, the teams were evenly matched as Desmond Bane led the Grizzlies with 27 points and Paul George leading the Clippers with 26. The Grizzlies, who were without All-Star John Morant for 25 games, got off to a strong start, getting out to a 13-point lead in the first quarter. The Clippers would fight back, going on a 20-2 run in the second quarter, but it would not last long. As the Grizzlies responded, going on a 16-6 run, Memphis hit 13 threes, which was a key and reason why they won. In the final minutes, newcomer for the Clippers, James Harden, struggled again and falls to 0-4 on his new team. The 105-100 win improved the Grizzlies on 2-8 on the season.
Sunday afternoon, the Arizona Cardinals hosted their fellow Bird team, the Atlanta Falcons, in Kyler Murray's return from his ACL injury. Murray, who was starting in his first game in 335 days, looked to give the 1-8 Cardinals a spark. After both teams punted, Matt Prater gave the Cardinals a 3-0 lead with a 52-yard field goal, which started a string of 5 straight possessions where both teams had a score of some kind. This ended with Murray running for a touchdown. However, the 2-point conversion would fail, and the Falcons entered the halftime break up 14-12. The Cardinals and Falcons would stay evenly matched, and despite throwing an interception, the Cardinals would take a 22-17 lead into the fourth quarter. The Falcons would have a good drive despite quarterback Heineke going down with an injury, and backup Ritter would take it and end in a touchdown, taking back the lead. However, it would be Murray who would have the last laugh. He orchestrated a game-winning drive, and Prater hit the game-winning chip shot to give the Cardinals a 25-23 win, just their second of the season. Yeah, so the NFL had 5 different games with game-winning field goals. It was really entertaining for the fans. And then also yesterday, the Broncos had another game-winning field goal against the Bills, 24-22. It was a lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers and penalties that really led to the win for the Broncos. They were able to overcome the penalties more than the Bills were able to.
Yeah, it went on both sides. Both of them did not have a great start, but the Broncos were able to recover from that. Their errors were on the first half, while the Bills were on both sides. So the Bills were not able to recover from all their errors.
Yeah.
But talking about college football, Mizzou and Tennessee are supposed to have a really tight match, especially a really close game, but Mizzou is able to pull ahead and wash Tennessee out of the waters, which good for them, but.
Yeah, I was really hoping it'd be a close game as well.
Yeah.
And then another, only one of the few upsets we had in college football was Kansas going down at Texas Tech and losing at home, which I think they played really well at home and they just didn't do offense very well.
Yeah, and Kansas has had such a good season so far, winning against some teams they probably shouldn't have. But then again, they're supposed to win. They don't, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when their third-string quarterback is playing for you. That's very difficult. When we come back, we'll have the EUTV Player of the Week.
We'll also have your upcoming Evangel games this week. We'll be right back.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Yeah, it's been another great week for the Valor sports teams as football is towards the end, volleyball is ended their season, and then we have basketball starting up.
Yeah, it has. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how they'll compete this upcoming week as well. Well, EUTV has the opportunity to showcase off one of our very own student athletes.
Yeah, it's time now for EUTV Sports Player of the Week. This Player of the Week is Evangel University quarterback R.J. Wakely. Wakely led the Valor to an outstanding comeback in overtime to keep their undefeated streak going. Wakely threw for 402 yards with 4 touchdowns to keep the Valor's undefeated season rolling. He connected with wide receiver Dylan Hester for 3 of the 4 touchdowns. Wakely is strung together a huge drive that ended in 6 to tie the game and send it into overtime. Then the Valor defense solidifies the win by blocking the field goal. That would have sent the game into second overtime. Congratulations to R.J. Wakely for his outstanding performance on Saturday.
Yeah, and he didn't just play well this Saturday. He's had a great season. He has just broken so many records, throwing yard, passing yards, all of it. He's just thrown the ball this season.
Yeah, and he's leading the team very well as a quarterback should. So that's
402 yards this game. Wow.
He led the comeback.
He did. Now let's take a look at the upcoming Evangel games this week.
Men's basketball has 2 games, Wednesday, November 15th, at home versus Tabor at 7:30, and at Kansas Wesleyan at 5 p.m. Saturday, November 18th.
So women's basketball plays Wednesday, November 15th at home versus Tabor at 5:30. They also play Saturday, November 18th at Kansas Wesleyan at 3 p.m.
Men's and women's cross country both have the NAIA Cross Country National Championships in Vancouver, Washington. The women run at 10:30 and the men run at 11:30.
Go Evangel Valor.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different games. The football team is out of bye this week currently, and then the cross country, I'm pretty sure there's a live stream somewhere of the national stream. They're in Washington, which is really far away.
It is really far. But men's and women's basketball both have a home game Wednesday, so EU has the opportunity to come and support that team.
Yes, I would go and support them.
Well, that's all the time that we have for Sports Update today. We invite you to check out EUValormedia.com for all the latest Evangel news and media.